ठीक, मेरी आवाज भी जा रही है, वो भी एक बार वेरीफाई कर दीजिए। Please settle down quickly. Okay. Good evening, everyone. Today we have last update session on environment. From tomorrow, we'll be starting RTFQ for environment. In 3 days, we will solve around 500 questions. So 160, 160, 170, we'll try to solve 160 to 170 questions in 3 hours. फटाफट करेंगे तो revise everything, be prepared so that we do not waste a lot of time in discussing things which we have already done in class. It will be a primarily revision thing. Unlike जैसे हम modern India में detail में हर option discuss कर रहे हैं, we won't be doing that. We will do that only for topics which we may not have done. So there may be a few things which I would keep studying over the next 2-3 days, and I may find कि मैंने अभी तक नहीं कराया, वो भी we will cover through questions, so that as I promised you, in environment you will not need to touch anything else. Everything would be my responsibility. So coming back to, तो आपका जो RTFQ सेशन होगा, रिवाइज थ्रू 500 क्वेश्चन सेशन, उसमें tomorrow, what is the date tomorrow? 10th of May from 6 p.m. we will do biodiversity. So in biodiversity, the basics of biodiversity, the animals, plants, birds, snakes, then the animal kingdom, plant kingdom, जो basics उसमें पढ़े थे NCERT में, that would be done in this session. Around 150-160 questions we would be doing here. On 11th of May, we will deal with conservation efforts. Conservation efforts में both national and international. तो अपन नेशनल में जो लॉज हैं, फॉरेस्ट कंजर्वेशन एक्ट, वाइल्ड लाइफ प्रोटेक्शन एक्ट, नेशनल पार्क्स, वाइल्ड लाइफ सेंचुरीज, जूज, व्हाटएवर ऑल द इनिशिएटिव्स दैट वी हैड डन, वी वुड बी डीलिंग विद, प्लस इंटरनेशनल वाला भी। हमने साइट्स, हमने बहुत सारे कन्वेंशन पढ़े हैं, है ना, बायोस्फीयर रिजर्व से रिलेटेड, साइट्स से रिलेटेड, ट्रैफिक, ये सारे इंटरनेशनल बॉडीज, ऑल दोज थिंग्स वुड बी डन ऑन द सेकेंड डे ऑन 11th of May. On 12th of May, what will we do? We will do RTFQ of revise through 500 question of pollution. इसमें all types of environmental pollution, air pollution, water pollution, ocean pollution, e-waste, जो भी हमने पढ़ा है, solid waste, lead pollution, all those kind of pollution, plus climate change. In climate change, not only the global warming वाला issue, but ozone depletion, desertification, लैंड डिग्रेडेशन, जो भी अपन ने बुकलेट में भी इसी हिसाब से पढ़ा था, क्लाइमेट चेंज का आपको बुकलेट मिला था, वी डिड इट लाइक दिस. तो फ्रॉम टुमारो रिवाइज थ्रू 500 क्वेश्चन ऑफ एनवायरमेंट. एवरी डे वी विल सॉल्व 160-170 क्वेश्चन, सो दैट इन 3 days वी आर कंप्लीटिंग 500 क्वेश्चंस. आई रिक्वेस्ट ऑल ऑफ यू to ensure that you have revised whatever we have covered. There may be a few things, एक दो टॉपिक होगा जो मैंने कवर नहीं किया होगा, that I will do in the RTFQ session only, so that you will not have to worry about missing anything, doing anything else. Okay, so should we start today's session? Today we have again the update session on environment, and in the update session today we are primarily dealing with things which were there in news in March. Okay, factual updates, we already have understanding of the concepts, the details we have already done. Only the updates that took place in April. तो सबसे पहले तो है tiger census. So we have already covered previous tiger census. We have covered what NTCA is. We have covered what tiger reserve is. We have covered Wildlife Protection Act में tiger reserve, project tiger का initiation. We have covered कि NTCA कब बना. NTCA was formed by 2006 amendment, and since 2006 it has been doing tiger census. So you would see that every 4 years it does tiger census. 2006 में there were 1411, 2018 में there were 2967 tigers, and 2022 में फोर्थ 4 ईयर के बाद there are 3167. तो exact 200 numbers का you would see improvement. 200 tigers have increased. वॉइस इज स्लो, आयुषी के लिए वॉइस कम है, बाकी सबके लिए कैसा है? सर इज दिस रिवाइज टू 500 सेशन गोइंग टू बी ओपन फॉर ऑल? हाँ, इट विल बी ओपन फॉर ऑल, इट विल बी ऑन यूट्यूब. हम देखो हमारा कोर्स खत्म हो गया 29 अप्रैल को, उसके बाद वी आर डूइंग एवरीथिंग ऑन यूट्यूब ओनली. ओके, नाउ तो वी हैव एन एग्जैक्ट इंप्रूवमेंट ऑफ 200 numbers in tiger. Now एक चीज देखो, between 2006 to 10 there was more than around 300 का improvement. 210 to 2015 में there was around 500 tigers का improvement. 2014 से 2018 में there was 600 tigers का improvement. Now the improvement has confined to 200. So though the number has improved, it's a good sign, but the rate of growth has come down to around 6%, which has been shown as a cause of concern, but in reality it is not. Now let's understand why is it not a cause of concern. 2018 में we changed something. Till 2014 when we measured tiger population, we only considered those tigers whose age was more than 1.5 years. जो 1.5 years से कम वाले थे, we did not consider them. But in 2018 what did we start doing? We started covering everyone who was more than 1 year of age. So a lot of tigers who were between 1 to 1.5 years age also got counted in the 2018 census. They got counted in 2018 census. They should not have been counted there. This increase may have been a bit less, and now the increase would have been higher. Okay, so it's not as such a huge cause of concern, but this rate of growth has been the lowest because a base भी बड़ा है, उस पे only 200 का growth is lowest. 6% increase in tiger number is lowest. Okay, लो वॉइस. ओके ओके, मैं ठीक करवाता हूँ इसे, 1 मिनट दीजिए मुझे. यार वॉइस बहुत कम जा रहा है ऑनलाइन, उसे ठीक कर दीजिए. Okay, did we understand this? So though this number has increased, it is the lowest 6% wala. Now total tiger population is 3167. Nearly 75% of the world's tiger are found in India. An increase of 200 in past 4 years. Growth of around 6.7%. This growth was 33% here. आप यहाँ से यहाँ आ रहे हो, so this growth was around 33%, whereas this growth has become very low. This growth has become only 6.7%. Now in this census around 20 states were covered. It included both foot surveys where the surveyors moved around in forest, plus the camera trap. Now if you remember, when we were covering environment, biodiversity and climate change in January, February, there we had covered the 2018 census. We had covered 2018 census, and in 2018 census we had divided the tigers in 5 different landscapes. सबसे ज्यादा टाइगर्स कौन से लैंडस्केप में थे? सेंट्रल इंडियन लैंडस्केप, सेंट्रल इंडिया एंड ईस्टर्न घाट्स वाला, है ना. अभी भी द हाईएस्ट नंबर ऑफ टाइगर्स सेंट्रल इंडियन हाईलैंड्स एंड ईस्टर्न घाट्स हैव अगेन रिपोर्टेड हाईएस्ट नंबर ऑफ टाइगर्स 1161. तो मोर देन 33% ऑफ द टाइगर्स आर फाउंड इन दिस रीजन. यहाँ पे हम देखेंगे Maharashtra, MP, the big cats have now come to occupy several territories of Maharashtra and MP which they did not occupy earlier. That is their reach. The reach of tiger is increasing, but in some regions, for example, Jharkhand, Odisha, Chhattisgarh and Telangana, the occupancy has declined. While in Maharashtra and in Madhya Pradesh, occupancy has increased. In these places, in these areas, occupancy has declined. In fact, in some protected areas like Kawal Tiger Reserve and Chennur of Telangana, in these 2 places in Telangana, there is no tiger. Similarly, Sri Venkateshwar National Park in Andhra Pradesh, there is no tiger. Satkoshia mein there is no tiger. Sahyadri Tiger Reserve mein in Maharashtra, there is no tiger. So some areas have faced problems. Okay, now the voice is fine. Good evening, sir. Is 94 a satisfactory score in pre-Samiksha test 3? Yes, it's a good score. Anything above 80 in pre-Samiksha test 3 is a good score. Keep revising, keep improving. You will improve your marks by 10-15 by the time you reach examination. Okay, तो फर्स्ट प्री समीक्षा में एनी स्कोर अबव 80 वाज गुड, सेकंड प्री समीक्षा में एनी स्कोर अबव 70 वाज गुड, थर्ड प्री समीक्षा में एनी स्कोर अबव 80 वाज गुड. ओके, व्हाई? बिकॉज आपके पास टाइम है, यू हैव अराउंड 15-16 days एंड you would have noticed something कि you knew most of the things, it was just that you had not revised. तो अब तो हम रिवीजन ही करेंगे सारा, तो everything would be done. ओके, तो एंड इन बक्सा, अरे भाई अभी वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट सेंट्रल इंडिया वाला रीजन ना, बक्सा तो कहाँ आएगा? नॉर्थ ईस्ट वाले में आएगा, तो अभी वी आर नॉट टॉकिंग अबाउट दैट. लेट्स कम बैक टू दिस. डिड वी अंडरस्टैंड दिस? सबसे ज्यादा नंबर ऑफ टाइगर्स कहाँ है? सेंट्रल इंडिया में ही है, सेंट्रल इंडिया ईस्टर्न घाट्स वाले रेंज में. In Maharashtra, Madhya Pradesh, we see improvement, but in rest of the regions, the occupancy has gone down. In some of the places, there is no tiger occupancy at all. Western Ghats mein, there has been a decline in tiger population. The number has come to 824. While the tiger numbers have remained stable in protected areas. they have Western Ghats में जाओगे तो बंदीपुर टाइगर रिजर्व है ना, उसके बगल में नागरहोल, नीचे मधुमलाई, Madhumalai tiger. These are protected areas in Western Ghats in the Nilgiri Biosphere Reserve. Their numbers have improved. Madhumalai, Periyar, Bandipur, Nagarhole, their numbers have improved. But outside protected areas, occupancy outside protected areas have declined. Significant decline has been seen in Wayanad landscape and Biligiri Ranga Hills. Similarly, tiger population has increased in Anshi Dandeli landscape. Anshi Dandeli landscape कहाँ पे होगा? कर्नाटका में. It declined in the border areas of Goa and Karnataka in Molem, Mahdei, Anshi Dandeli complex. Shivalik Hills में जाते हैं. Now we are going to the Uttarakhand and Shivalik Hills and Gangetic Plains, Uttar Pradesh and Bihar. Uttarakhand, Himachal Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh and Bihar. So Bihar में we only have Valmiki Tiger Reserve. In cases में क्या हुआ है? You will see that more than 800, around 804 individuals. मैंने पहले इसे more than 800 लिखा था, फिर मैंने exact number लिख दिया, तो अब ये more than नहीं है. 804 individual tigers have been found here. The landscape has 5 important tiger reserves, and यहाँ पे some improvements have taken place. For example, in UP, Suhelwas Wildlife Sanctuary, where tigers were not found earlier, have been found. Northwest of Yamuna in Himachal Pradesh have recorded photographic evidence of tigers in the landscape where it was not found earlier. Then northeastern hills and Brahmaputra plain have given evidence of 194 tigers. In Sundarbans mein there are 100 tigers. In the last census, Sundarbans mein there were around 70 plus tigers. Now that number has gone up to 100. Are we understanding this? Are we getting it? Okay. So these are the updates in the tiger census. We must be aware of this. We must be knowing this. हमने भी tiger census पुराना वाला पढ़ा है, कैसे होता है, all the equipments which are used, all the apps which are used, we have already done that. M-stripes और ये सब चीजें हमने पहले पढ़ी हुई हैं. This is just the latest data that we have, which was released in April 2023 regarding the 2022 census. हाँ, yes. Then when this tiger census was being released, this was the 5th tiger census. 6, 10, 14, 18 and 22. This was the 5th tiger census. When this tiger census was released, at that time, India also launched International Big Cat Alliance. Now, it is not International Tiger Alliance. है ना? It's not International Tiger Alliance. But हमने एक GTI पढ़ा था while we were studying tiger. Global Tiger Initiative. कौन-कौन सी countries included हैं Global Tiger Initiative में? 13 tiger range countries. Which are those countries? Would someone tell me? कॉमन सेंस लगाना. देखो हमने टाइगर देखे, रशिया में है, चाइना में है, इंडिया में है, नेपाल, भूटान, बांग्लादेश एंड साउथ ईस्ट एशिया की तरफ चले जाओगे, है ना, टाइगर्स वहां है. Whereas when we talk about leopards, snow leopard का भी एक इनिशिएटिव हमने पढ़ा था. Snow leopards are not there in Southeast Asia, they are in Central Asia. स्नो लेपर्ड थोड़ा ठंडी जगह, साउथ ईस्ट एशिया में कहां से लाएंगे स्नो लेपर्ड. एनीवेज, लेट्स कम बैक टू दिस इंटरनेशनल बिग कैट अलायंस. सो इट्स नॉट अ टाइगर अलायंस, इट्स अ बिग कैट के लिए अलायंस, और टाइगर वुड बी वन ऑफ द कैट्स. सो पीएम मोदी inaugurated this international big cat alliance in April. India has proposed to launch a mega global alliance to protect big cats and assured that over 5 years India would be contributing $100 million or around 800 crore rupees to run this international Big Cat Alliance, towards this international Big Cat Alliance. Now, in this alliance, there would be focus on 7 major big cats: tiger, lion, leopard, snow leopard, puma, jaguar and cheetah. इनमें से 5 तो इंडिया में मिलते हैं, puma and jaguar we will not find, but otherwise the 5 things we find in India. देखिए यहाँ पे ना they have not included clouded leopard. India also has clouded leopard which is found in northeast India. सिर्फ मेघालय नहीं, नॉर्थ ईस्ट. यस यस, अच्छा उसका स्टेट एनिमल है. नाइस, इतना याद है जयेश को. उसका स्टेट एनिमल है. तो दीज आर द 7 बिग कैट्स which are going to be protected under international Big Cat Alliance, international Big Cat Alliance. But in this, the aim is that India should be able to bring all 97 countries where these 7 big cats are found as part of this alliance. Abhi these 97 countries all have not joined this alliance. India ने announce किया है. But eventually the aim is that we should be able to get all the 97 range countries covering these big cats. It will further strengthen global. So purpose क्या है? International alliance है. तो global cooperation for tiger protection is something that would be promoted. और यहाँ पे भी structure कुछ वैसे plan किया गया है. एक general assembly where the all the members would be represented. Then there would be a council and secretariat for day-to-day functioning and decision making. Did we understand this? Are we getting this? Then mammals में तो टाइगर्स सेंसस हमने पढ़ लिया. नाउ लेट्स कम टू एकिडनास. एकिडनास के बारे में छोटा सा न्यूज़ था, बट बिफोर दैट वी हैव कवर्ड एकिडनास इन द पास्ट व्हेन वी वर कवरिंग मैमल्स. एकिडनास एंड डक बिल्ड प्लैटिपस, दीज वर 2 टाइप्स ऑफ मैमल्स व्हिच वर एग लेइंग, है ना, मेट्रोनोम्स ऐसा कुछ नाम था उनका, एग लेइंग. तो प्लैटिपस, डक बिल्ड प्लैटिपस एंड 4 species of echidnas were there. The echidnas are ant eaters and they lay egg, but they are mammals. They breastfeed their children. और कहाँ मिलते थे? Both duck-billed platypus and echidnas, northeast Australia, Papua New Guinea. These were the regions where they are found. यहाँ पे भी ना एक न्यूज़ था, was about how do echidnas cool themselves. In fact, इस down to earth article में ना there were, so इस हिंदू के आर्टिकल में there were various mechanisms by which we cool ourselves. For example, humans कैसे अपने आप को ठंडा करेंगे? They sweat. When we sweat, the sweat evaporates and we get cooled, because वो water to get evaporated will absorb some heat and will remain coolness behind. Something the mechanism that is used by water pots to cool the water inside. मटके का पानी पिया है वो ठंडा होता है because from the holes on the matka the water keeps on evaporating. That is how we cool ourselves. That's why we sweat. But do dogs sweat? Dogs नहीं. Dogs don't sweat. आपने कभी देखा dog भाग के आ रहा है और पसीना बह रहा है? नहीं. They don't sweat. How do they cool themselves? So you would see dogs panting. वो अपना जीभ निकाल के ऐसा कर रहे होते हैं. They do it when they are happy. They do it whenever they have to cool themselves. That is a mechanism by which जब यहाँ से the saliva evaporates, it cools it itself. That's one mechanism. Then kangaroos will lick their arms. They lick their arms and जब वो saliva evaporate होगा, cooling effect आएगा. Similarly, when you look at vultures जानबूझ के would excrete on their legs. Water, their excreta which will be watery, they will do it on their legs intentionally so that when that evaporates, they cool down themselves. Alag-alag mechanisms are used by different kind of animals to cool down themselves. Not everyone sweats. Humans do sweat, right? हम स्वेट करते हैं बहुत ज्यादा नहीं वो. Humans do sweat, but that's not the case with other animals. But they are cooling themselves. Now, when we come to echidnas, there are several methods that they use. They waddle out during pleasanter times. वो दिन में नहीं निकलेंगे, ठंड के टाइम या सुबह शाम के टाइम निकलेंगे जहां उनको ज्यादा गर्मी ना लगे. और समटाइम्स व्हाट दे डू, देयर स्पाइन्स, echidnas like वो इमेज, the spines, what they'll do, during winters their spines will be bent so that it will trap heat, but during summers the spine would be like this so that heat could be released. Similarly, देखो उनके पूरी बॉडी पे स्पाइन है बट इट्स नॉट ऑन द स्टमक, तो वो ना कूल प्लेसेस में अपने स्टमक पे दे वुड लाई डाउन सो दैट दे कैन कूल देमसेल्व्स. बट रिसेंटली साइंटिस्ट हैव डिटरमाइंड अदर मैकेनिज्म बाय व्हिच दे कूल देमसेल्व्स. आपने कभी बचपन में ये किया है, वो अपने मुंह से बबल, वो विद सलाइवा यू यूज्ड टू मेक बबल्स? नहीं क्या? बचपन में सबने किया होगा, हैं? बांड्रा ने भी किया? अरे याद नहीं है. प्रचुर क्या? सबने किया? आपने किया? मैं आपका नाम भूल गया. ऋतिका, ऋतिका आपने किया? सबने किया होगा, है ना? इट वाज कंसिडर्ड टू बी लाइक चाइल्डिश. मम्मी डांट भी देती होंगी, पापा डांट भी देते, क्या बेहुदा काम कर रहे हो, राइट? It uses that for cooling itself. Recently, scientists have found that they also use mucus balloons. They make mucus balloons. जो balloons हम अपने saliva से बनाते थे, they use mucus balloon to cool themselves down. When a hot animal blows mucus balloons that burst over its nose, evaporation cools the blood vessel inside the snout. उनका जो snout है, उनके blood vessels को by evaporation the blood vessels would be cooled. Now this blood would circulate through the entire body and will cool down the entire body. ये देखो थर्मल कैमरा से जब इमेज लिया गया, you can see snout is extra blue, it's extra cold because of that mechanism. Right? Do we understand? Are we getting this? So this was in news, but ये चीज आए ना आए, एक चीज जो यूपीएससी पहले पूछ चुकी है वो ये है, mammals which roll up to protect themselves. जैसे these spiny echidnas, when someone attacks them, they'll roll themselves to protect their sensitive areas. जैसे उनका stomach वाला जो area है, that's sensitive, they'll roll themselves so that stomach gets covered and this spiny area would not be attacked by predators. Right? Similarly, there are some other species, जैसे hedgehog. This hedgehog, it will also roll itself to protect itself from the predators. Then there is this armadillos. Armadillos are found in South America. South America एक इनमें से एक North America में मिलता है. They are small armored mammals that can roll themselves up into ball to protect themselves. Armadillos is a Spanish word meaning little armored ones and refers to bony plate that cover the back. You can see the back which is covered here with the bony plate. Head, legs, tail, most of these odd looking creatures. Armadillos are the only living mammals that wear such shell. Mammals में इस तरह का shell होना is not there with anyone, only with armadillos. Then echidnas, we just saw echidnas who roll themselves to protect themselves. Similarly, pangolins, we have already covered pangolins, so I have not given images there. So prelims 2021 में एक क्वेश्चन आया था, which of the following roll themselves to protect themselves from the predator, and एक ऑप्शन उसमें था ये वाला hedgehog, दूसरा ऑप्शन था pangolin. Then there was third option which was not rolling up to protect itself, and thus उसे हटा के 1 and 3 was the answer. So that's why I briefly covered this portion. So do we have more locally extirpated tiger reserve in 2022 census than in 2018? यार उसमें मैं इतने डिटेल में भी गया नहीं हूँ सेंसस के, तो if I'll go there then, or I don't think UPSC will ask this question कि number of tiger reserves where tigers are not there, उसका comparison between 2018-22 वो नहीं पूछेंगे. फिर भी for your interest I will go through it once. Okay, let's come back to एक और update है. We know about Prosopis juliflora, one of the most invasive of species. उसी का एक भाई है, उसी के जीनस का, Prosopis chilensis. It's creating problem in Gulf of Mannar. हमने Gulf of Mannar Biosphere Reserve पढ़ा है. Yesterday we were talking about which Biosphere Reserve? Great Nicobar Biosphere Reserve, है ना? उसके बाद हम जो पढ़ते थे उस ऑर्डर में आता है Gulf of Mannar Biosphere Reserve. And Gulf of Mannar Biosphere Reserve में there are lots of islands. there this species, which comes from South America, have started creating problem. Invasive hai, so we already understand the meaning of invasive. First, it should be foreign. Second, it should become naturalized. Third, it should start hampering biodiversity, local biodiversity, threatening local biodiversity. This is what it has started doing in Gulf of Mannar Biosphere Reserve, Prosopis chilensis. It is from South America, Argentina, Bolivia, Chile, Peru में मिलता है, India में invasive है. But unlike Prosopis juliflora, where a lot of study has been done, कि वो कैसे इंडिया में इंट्रोड्यूस हुए, कैसे फैले, about them not a lot of work has been done and not a lot of study is there. Okay. Now let's come to Bandipur Tiger Reserve. अपना प्रोजेक्ट टाइगर was started on 1st of April 1973. 1st of April 2023, अभी कुछ दिन पहले हुआ है. 50 years of Project Tiger. And जब Project Tiger अनाउंस हुआ था ना, there were 9 tiger reserves that we had. Bandipur was one of them. तो अभी जब census was tiger census was announced, PM also visited Bandipur Tiger Reserve. So Bandipur has completed 50 years as Project Tiger Reserve. Similarly, Bandipur has also been ranked second in management effectiveness of tiger reserves. तो इन दोनों चीजों को समझते हैं. But first, let's understand Bandipur, a tiger reserve, a national park in Karnataka. ये tiger reserve बना 1973 में. But even before that, even before British era, the Mysore rulers, earlier it was under the control of Mysore rulers, they had taken steps to protect biodiversity here. अब देखेंगे यहाँ पे Mysore Game and Fish Preservation Act was passed in 1901. Mysore gazetteers have recorded that several forest areas were not only preserved as game reserves, but tiger blocks were identified and restrictions imposed on shooting also. So even earlier efforts were taken. So Bandipur Tiger Reserve के बारे में, it became Tiger Reserve in 1973. It's also a national park. Its total area is around 912 square kilometer. The Nugu Wildlife Sanctuary has also been made part of Bandipur National Park or Bandipur Tiger Reserve. Now it's part of Bandipur Tiger Reserve. It's located in Mysore district, Samrajnagar district of South Indian state of Karnataka, together with Nagarhole National Park, Mudumalai National Park and Wayanad Wildlife Sanctuary. It's part of Nilgiri Biosphere. ये हमने बहुत डिटेल में पहले पढ़ा है. We don't have to worry about it. हाँ. Now it is 80 km from the city of Mysore. Not 80 km square. It is 80 km from the city of Mysore on route to Ooty. So from Mysore, when people travel to Ooty, they pass through Bandipur Tiger Reserve, and thus Bandipur sees a lot of tourist traffic and thus a lot of wildlife fatalities. And this issue goes on. रात में traffic banned है यहाँ पे, but Supreme Court has on various occasions considered this request कि दिन में भी ban करो. Otherwise, a lot of fatalities are taking place here. Sir, porcupines also roll. हाँ, porcupines roll करते हैं कि नहीं, but they have that spiny things. अगर आप उसे attack करोगे तो you get damaged. Yes. Dominant flora, dominant fauna एक बार देख लीजिएगा. Let's come to management effectiveness index report. तो management effectiveness evaluation, पहले इसको समझो. How effectively you are managing your tiger reserve, उसका evaluation is management effectiveness evaluation. Recently, the central government has released management effectiveness index report for 2023, जहां पे they have ranked various tiger reserves. There are 53 tiger reserves in the country. उसमें से 51 only were considered for the purpose here, and those 51 tiger reserves were ranked on the basis of how effectively tiger reserves are being managed there. Okay, management effectiveness evaluation, उसमें management इसका report publish हुआ, which is management effectiveness index report. As per तो how the evaluation is done, you would see it's a technical exercise which covers various elements like planning, context, input process, output and outcomes in park management. So for park management, how you have planned it, how what are the inputs that you are providing, what is the result of that. All those things are measured here. It provides for understanding of impact of park management on the wildlife, impact of park management on the biodiversity conservation. This MEE, management effective evaluation, was the fifth cycle of evaluation. The first cycle was started in 2006, and as per the latest management effective evaluation of tiger reserves, Periyar Tiger Reserve is the best managed tiger reserve. Periyar Tiger Reserve is the best managed tiger reserve. But टॉप 12 टाइगर रिजर्व जो है ना, जिनको 90% से ज्यादा स्कोर मिला है, सिर्फ 12 टाइगर रिजर्व से जिनको 90% से ज्यादा स्कोर मिला है, 5 ऑफ देम आर इन कर्नाटका. बंदीपुर इज रैंक सेकंड. Periyar was the first. Bandipur and Satpura are both ranked second. You will see Nagarhole, तो बंदीपुर एंड सतपुरा दोनों का स्कोर है 93.18. They are both ranked second. Satpura is where? It's in Maharashtra. Bandipur is in Karnataka. Then Nagarhole with a score of 92.42 is ranked fourth. BRT with a score of 91.67 is ranked sixth. Bhadra and Kali, these are two other tiger reserves in Karnataka which are ranked 9th and 10th. So Karnataka in terms of tiger reserve effectiveness is doing very well. क्या हो गया, ऑनलाइन चल रहा है कि नहीं? Okay, let's come back to this. Ministry, central government, Ministry of Environment Forest. नहीं, I don't think so. दिबांग वाइल्ड सेंचुरी. दिबांग वाइल्ड सेंचुरी कहाँ है? अरुणाचल प्रदेश में. फर्स्ट थिंग दैट यू शुड नो इज दिस. दिबांग बायोस्फीयर रिजर्व की बात करी थी हमने. दिबांग वाइल्ड सेंचुरी इज पार्ट ऑफ दैट बायोस्फीयर रिजर्व. इज दैट बायोस्फीयर रिजर्व पार्ट ऑफ मैन इन बायोस्फीयर प्रोग्राम? नहीं. एमएबी का पार्ट कहाँ है वो, है ना? एमएबी का पार्ट तो यहाँ पे सिमलीपल होता है, नौकरेक होता है और फिर कंचनजंगा होता है. नॉर्थ ईस्ट इंडिया में तो नौकरेक और कंचनजंगा ही रह गए, बाकी तो कुछ है नहीं. मानस बायोस्फीयर रिजर्व, डिब्रू साइखोवा, दिहांग दिबांग, दीज आर नॉट पार्ट ऑफ मैन इन बायोस्फीयर प्रोग्राम. इंडिया ने उसे बायोस्फीयर रिजर्व डिक्लेयर करके रखा हुआ है. सतपुड़ा इज इन एमपी, श्योर? अच्छा हाँ, मैंने गलत बता दिया, सॉरी. सह्याद्री इज इन महाराष्ट्र. सह्याद्री इज इन महाराष्ट्र. आई एम सॉरी आकाश. लेट्स कम बैक टू दिबांग वाइल्ड. तो दिबांग तो अरुणाचल प्रदेश में, ये पक्का है. अब दिबांग वाइल्ड लाइफ सेंचुरी में क्या हो रहा है? एनटीसीए had recently announced कि very soon they will declare दिबांग as a tiger reserve. अच्छी बात है दिबांग को टाइगर रिजर्व डिक्लेयर करना, बट यहां पे रहने वाले इदू मिश्मी पीपल आर प्रोटेस्टिंग अगेंस्ट इट. इदू मिश्मी पीपल आर प्रोटेस्टिंग अगेंस्ट इट. तो पहले देखो दिबांग वाइल्ड लाइफ सेंचुरी, इट्स नॉट अ टाइगर रिजर्व येट. दिबांग वाइल्ड लाइफ सेंचुरी, वेयर इज इट लोकेटेड? वेयर एग्जैक्टली इज इट लोकेटेड? एकदम अरुणाचल प्रदेश के भी नॉर्थ ईस्ट में, है ना? अरुणाचल प्रदेश इज एट द नॉर्थ ईस्ट ऑफ इंडिया, उसके भी नॉर्थ ईस्ट में दिबांग इज located. It is one of the 8 wildlife sanctuary of Arunachal Pradesh. It's known for rare mammals like Mishmi takin, red goral, musk deer, red pandas, Asiatic black bear and occasionally tigers also. That's why tiger reserve declare करने की बात करेंगे ना. Now एक और चीज नोटिस करो, it is part of Dihang Dibang Biosphere Reserve. Now who are these Idu Mishmi people who are protesting against it? Idu Mishmi people who are protesting against the declaration as tiger reserve. पहले protest क्यों कर रहे हैं? Because they think if Dibang wildlife sanctuary is declared as tiger reserve, our tiger reserve में there would be core area where no one would be allowed to interfere, which is not the case with wildlife sanctuaries. Wildlife sanctuaries में restrictions are much lesser. That's why they are protesting. हाँ, बायोस्फीयर, पर देखो बायोस्फीयर रिजर्व का कोर एरिया का पार्ट नहीं होगा ना, है ना? यहाँ पे इतने रिस्ट्रिक्शंस नहीं होंगे. Right, let's come back to this. Who are Idu Mishmi people? They are a sub-tribe of larger Mishmi group. अरुणाचल प्रदेश में एक Mishmi tribe मिलता है. Mishmi tribe can be divided into 3 sub-tribes: Digaru Mishmi, Miju Mishmi, and the Idu Mishmi. They live in Arunachal Pradesh and in neighboring Tibet also. They are very famous for their weaving and craftsmanship skills. They primarily live in Mishmi Hills, which borders Tibet. The tribe is estimated to be around 12,000 as per 2011 census, and their language is also Idu Mishmi. The name of the tribe and the language is same, and UNESCO has declared their language to be one of the endangered languages. 12,000 लोग ही हैं, उनमें से भी अरुणाचल प्रदेश में a lot of people have started speaking Hindi. Some of them even speak English, but Idu Mishmi thus has become a endangered language. Then इनके कल्चर में हुलॉक गिबन्स एंड टाइगर्स प्ले इंपॉर्टेंट रोल. टाइगर्स आर स्पेसिफिकली वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट एज पर इदू माइथोलॉजी. इदू के जो वो होते हैं लेजेंड्स माइथोलॉजी, एज पर इदू मिश्मी पीपल, एज पर इदू माइथोलॉजी, इदू पीपल एंड टाइगर्स केम फ्रॉम द सेम मदर, एंड दस टाइगर्स आर elder brothers for them. Tigers are elder brothers for them, and thus they don't kill tigers. You would see, while hunting has traditionally been their way of life, traditionally Idu Mishmi people were involved in hunting, but they follow a strict belief system of myths and taboos called Iu Ina. I may be pronouncing it wrong, but a system of rules that they follow, traditional rules which they follow, where these rules restrict them from hunting many animals, including complete prohibition on killing of tigers, because tigers though are elder brothers. Idu Mishmi, right? Dibang Wildlife Sanctuary, Idu Mishmi people. Mishmi people, 3 parts में. Idu Mishmi living in the hills bordering Tibet. ये सारे आइडियाज हमें होने चाहिए. आधी क्लास खत्म होने के बाद आइए, आप जल्दी बैठो. डिड वी अंडरस्टैंड? ये समझ में आ गया? ओके. सीड बैंक एट असोला भाटी. वेयर इज असोला भाटी वाइल्ड लाइफ सेंचुरी? यहीं पे है, दिल्ली में. दिल्ली हरियाणा को बॉर्डर करता हुआ जो रिज है ना, अरावली रिज, अरावली रेंजेस हैं, उसमें है असोला भाटी वाइल्ड लाइफ सेंचुरी. अभी अप्रैल में क्यों न्यूज में था? बिकॉज हियर अ काइंड ऑफ सीड बैंक हैज बीन डेवलप्ड. अ काइंड ऑफ सीड बैंक हैज बीन डेवलप्ड. तो सीड बैंक, a seed bank which collects and stores seeds of species of plants that are native to the Aravalis is gradually taking shape at a nursery in the Ashola Bhati Wildlife Sanctuary. Aravalis के जो native plants हैं उनको ये अपने नर्सरी में ग्रो कर रहे हैं, और फिर saplings they are providing in the entire city. Which city? City of Delhi. Now Aravali has been badly affected by Prosopis juliflora, vilayati कीकर. It has been badly affected by that. So what they're trying to do, they're trying to protect native Aravali species through these nurseries. This nursery at the sanctuary is growing more than 100 species of native grasses, plants and trees, and provide provide saplings for plantation by agencies in the city. This project is being run by the Forest Department and Bombay Natural History Society. It was started in 2015, and now a lot of good work has been done. Among the addition to seed bank are the seeds of tree like salais tree, falsa tree, species that are difficult to find in Delhi. Aim क्या है? Native saplings for the city provide करना, like for the city, for planting trees in the city, native trees of Aravallis should be made available. That is one of the aims. दूसरा, spreading awareness among people about the significance of native trees and how invasive species are threatening us. These are the broad functions of the seed bank. But ये seed bank ना वैसा seed bank. Seed banks generally are created in very cold conditions where seeds could be preserved for much longer period. इंडिया का एक पॉपुलर सीड बैंक है एट चांगला, लद्दाख. लद्दाख, a very cold place. India has started its own seed bank at Changla, Ladakh. This seed bank was built by Defense Institute of High Altitude Research and National Bureau of Plant Genetic Resource in 2010. It stores around 5,000 seed accessions. Then अगर आप इंपॉर्टेंट इंटरनेशनल सीड बैंक देखोगे तो एक स्वालबार्ड ग्लोबल सीड वॉल्ट है. स्वालबार्ड हमने पढ़ा था, स्वालबार्ड आर्किपेलागो मैपिंग में नॉर्वे, स्वीडन, फिनलैंड पढ़ रहे थे, तो हमने वो देखा था कि और कौन कौन से आइलैंड्स और आइलैंड आर्किपेलागोस का पार्ट है. स्वालबार्ड इज वेरी क्लोज टू आर्कटिक, दस रिमेन्स वेरी कोल्ड. यहां पे दे आर काइंड ऑफ स्टोरिंग सीड्स टू डील विथ एनी ग्लोबल क्राइसिस. कल न्यूक्लियर वॉर हो जाए या कुछ ऐसा हो जाए, जिस वजह से वी हैव टू repopulate what plants. So for that they are storing seed bank, and the storage there is so strong it will be able to bear atomic bombs and those kind of things as well. तो चांगला इंडिया वाला, सालबर्ड वर्ल्ड वाला, और यहाँ पे दिस वाइल्ड लाइफ सेंचुरी, मोर इंपॉर्टेंट इज ये वाइल्ड लाइफ सेंचुरी कहाँ लोकेटेड है, यू शुड बी एबल टू डील विथ दैट. नाउ पोल्यूशन इश्यूज में एक बायोल्यूमिनेसेंस वाज इन न्यूज रिसेंटली. बायोल्यूमिनेसेंस, ल्यूमिनेसेंस मतलब लाइट, तो लिविंग ऑर्गेनिजम्स जो लाइट प्रोड्यूस कर. यू वुड सी विशाखापट्टनम बीचेस आर ग्लोइंग ड्यू टू फेनोमेना कॉल्ड बायोल्यूमिनेसेंस. देखो लोग एंजॉय कर रहे हैं एंड रात में it is appearing as if the ocean is giving light. This light is because of phytoplanktons. Phytoplanktons, some kind of algae. Some algae have certain enzymes which react to produce light. आप कभी रात में ओशन में गए हो? आप गए हो? तो रात में जब आप ओशंस में रहते हो ना, तो द गाइड समटाइम्स टेक यू इन द ओशन एट नाइट टू सी द स्टार्स. वो स्टार आपको लगता है कि आपके चारों तरफ सितारे चमक रहे हैं. नहीं, यू हैव नेवर डन दैट. इट्स बिकॉज ऑफ सम फाइटोप्लैंक्टन्स हु एमिट लाइट एट नाइट. लाइट तो हमेशा एमिट करेंगे, बट इट वुड बी विजिबल एट नाइट. तो थाईलैंड में एक प्लेस है कॉल्ड फीफी आइलैंड. फीफी आइलैंड में हम लोग ना एक बोट क्रूज पे गए थे, जहां पे हमें रात में उस क्रूज पे ही सोना था. तो रात में आई रिमेंबर 11:30 बजे आवर गाइड कम्स, जंप इनटू द वाटर. इट्स लाइक व्हाट, अरे आई विल शो यू समथिंग ग्रेट. फिर वी वेंट इनसाइड द वाटर एंड वी वर एबल टू सी अंडर की चारों तरफ ऐसे ना कुछ चमक रहा है. तो व्हेन यू डू समथिंग लाइक दैट फॉर द फर्स्ट टाइम, फट लेती है, राइट. मेरे साथ भी हुआ था. अरे इवन स्मॉल थिंग, देयर वाज समथिंग कॉल्ड, नहीं कैनोइंग, उसे क्या बोलते हैं, उसमें ना एक पाइप से आपके मुंह से बाहर रहता है बट यू रिमेन इनसाइड. स्नॉर्कलिंग, यस, स्नॉर्कलिंग. तो दे टुक अस फॉर स्नॉर्कलिंग, है ना. हम कर रहे, मैंने नीचे मुंह डाला और चारों तरफ इतनी फिश भी फट ली. आई वाज लाइक आई कांट डू दैट, आई एम गोइंग बैक टू द शिप. फर्स्ट टाइम इन योर लाइफ व्हेन देयर आर सो मेनी fish around you, you'll be frightened. It was my first experience. So and this happened here also. यहाँ पे इतना डर नहीं लगा, पर वो snorkeling was difficult. We did canoeing also. Canoeing में there's a canoe, that's a small boat. You take it with those hand pedals. तो उसमें my friends kept on telling me, भाई उधर shark है, मत जा. पर ना वहाँ पे दिख नहीं रहा है ना, तो डर नहीं लग रहा, हम ऐसे बीच में लेके चले गए हैं. बट यहाँ पे फिश, छोटे छोटे फिश हमारे बगल में उसमें लग गई थी. Anyways, let's come back to this bioluminescence. Bioluminescence, the glow of waves is caused by tiny marine organisms called phytoplankton which emit light in the ocean surface. In fact, bioluminescence सिर्फ ये नहीं करते. There are a number of organisms. This is some sponges, some jellyfish, some worms, some species of fish, some species of arthropods also, echinoderms, unicellular algae. They exhibit bioluminescence to either evade predators or attract prey or during mating. To protect themselves from predators, to attract their food, and during mating, some of these organisms may be producing these light. This is called bioluminescent. What happened in Visakhapatnam? Visakhapatnam में जो ये bioluminescence अभी हुआ है, it's most probably because of algal bloom, pollution. A lot of algae growing there. Algae of dinoflagellate species of Noctiluca and Serratium type. These emit light when disturbed by breaking waters. So when waves come, these algae are disturbed and they emit light. This occurs when the luciferase enzyme reacts with luciferin compounds in the presence of oxygen, and they produce cold light, blue light type of light they'll be producing. Some other beaches in India also show this phenomena. Havelock Island in the Andamans, Thiruvanmiyar Beach in Chennai, Mattu Beach in Karnataka, Bangaram Island in Lakshadweep. These are some other islands where you may see this bioluminescence. But exam में इन beaches के बारे में आएगा तो beach को match the following में आएगा. But they may ask you the phenomena of bioluminescence. अभी नहीं, देखो एक महीने पहले तक पेपर रेडी हो जाता है. तो by 28th April your paper was ready. So most of the work of making paper must be going on in the month of April. और ये चीजें न्यूज में है. तो they may ask you a term bioluminescence क्या होता है. अभी 3 दिन पहले ना मेरे पास योजना आया है जो कि अप्रैल वाला योजना है. वो साइंस पे है, टेकेड करके. तो अभी मैं साइंस का एक अपडेट क्लास लेने का प्लान कर रहा हूं. आफ्टर द आरटीएफक्यू ऑफ एनवायरनमेंट आई विल टेक एन अपडेट क्लास ऑन साइंस. आई विल कवर ऑल द इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग्स फ्रॉम दैट योजना. बिकॉज जब वो योजना लिखी जा रही होगी, योजना पब्लिश अप्रैल 22-23 के आसपास हुई होगी, मेरे पास अभी 2 दिन पहले आई, बट तब your question paper must also be getting prepared. So any relevant thing from there I'll be including in your notes. Anyways, did we understand bioluminescence? कैसे होता है and all? Let's come to salt marshes. एक down to earth में study आया था March 2023 with saying because of climate change 90% of the world's salt marshes are going to succumb, are going to end. So what are salt marshes? देखो ocean has salt. During high tide water reaches higher places, then it goes back. वो water evaporate हो जाता है, कुछ water वापस चला जाता है, कुछ and salt remains back. तो high tide और low tide के बीच में ना कई areas में salt marshes get created where the salt concentration, salt deposition is higher. Salt marshes are coastal wetlands that are found in the intertidal zone where the land is flooded by seawater during high tides and exposed during low tide. These ecosystems are characterized by grasses, sedges and other plants that are adapted to high level of salt in the soil. These salt marshes are kind of wetlands, coastal wetlands, and thus are very crucial. They provide protection from coastal erosion. How? In these salt marshes there are vegetation and all. They provide habitat for wildlife because there are vegetation, there are living organisms which are surviving there. They also play a role in carbon storage. They play a role in water filtration. Polluted water ocean में जाने से पहले they will be doing some filtration, wetlands वाला काम. And then there are economic benefits also. Here people come for fishing, hunting, for tourism also. Even salt extraction, a lot of salt extraction may take place from salt marshes. Thus commercially also salt marshes are very crucial. But the recent study is saying that salt marshes are going to face a lot of problem. They are already facing what is called coastal squeeze. What is coastal squeeze? उस तरफ से sea level is rising, salt marshes are getting submerged. So we would assume कि now salt marshes will get extended towards land, but towards land human beings are living. They have their buildings, they have their sea walls, and thus they are facing this coastal squeeze. And down to earth study says that if we don't do anything, then in some time these salt marshes may 90% of them may end. It was the news. So salt marshes क्या है, उनका significance क्या है, coastal squeeze term क्या है, इसके बारे में we should have slight idea. Okay, now अभी RBI has issued a framework for acceptance of green deposits by banks, NBFCs, etc. RBI has issued a framework for acceptance of green deposits. Now what are green deposits? Let's understand green deposits. ये सबने नोट कर लिया. कल से RTFQ शुरू कर रहे हैं हम लोग, है ना. कल बायोडाइवर्सिटी का होगा, तो प्लीज बायोडाइवर्सिटी वाला सेक्शन रेडी कर लीजिए. बेसिक्स ऑफ बायोडाइवर्सिटी, एनिमल्स, प्लांट्स, देन एनिमल किंगडम, वो सारी चीजें. सेकेंड डे कंजर्वेशन एफर्ट्स. कंजर्वेशन एफर्ट्स में बोथ नेशनल एफर्ट्स, इंटरनेशनल एफर्ट्स, ऑल द कंजर्वेशन रिलेटेड थिंग्स वी वुड बी डीलिंग विथ हियर. थर्ड डे पे द पोल्यूशन, ऑल काइंड्स ऑफ पोल्यूशन, एनवायरमेंटल पोल्यूशन, एनवायरमेंटल इश्यूज, कोस्टल इश्यूज, वो सारी चीजें. एंड देन क्लाइमेट चेंज, जिसमें क्लाइमेट चेंज भी, एसिडिफिकेशन भी, ओजोन लेयर डिप्लेशन, desertification, all those things would be done. Right? ये बात समझ. Now when we are dealing with conservation ना, इसमें इकोलॉजी, इकोसिस्टम वाला भी पार्ट करेंगे. जो आपको इस साल बेसिक्स कराए गए ना, इकोलॉजी क्या है, इकोसिस्टम क्या है, we will be doing those things also. Sir, I am a student of the current affairs batch. Just wanted to thank you for all the amazing lectures starting from science and tech to mapping. Thank you for your incredible lectures. You're welcome बेटा. Okay, तो ये 3 दिन, इस 3 दिन में we will finish RTFQs, environment and anything that I may have left. हमने already, like if we include these 2 booklets that I have given, already 500-600 pages पढ़ लिया है environment, बहुत ज़्यादा पढ़ लिया है. But even then अगर 1-2 चीजें बची हैं in RTFQ sessions, I will ensure that those things are also done. Okay, so be prepared so that we are able to finish 150, 160, maybe 200 questions in a day. रिविजन फटाफट होगा, आपको मजा भी आएगा. एंड ब्रिंग योर नोट्स ऑल्सो, ब्रिंग योर नोट्स इन द क्लास सो दैट उसी टाइम आप खोल के देखोगे मैंने क्या गड़बड़ करी. इट्स देयर इन द नोट्स, राइट? So in next 3 days you'll be fully done for 15-20 questions for the examination, and I will also cover all the past year questions as part of this RTFQ only. Fine. इसके बाद हम साइंस अपडेट, और साइंस का एक RTFQ बाकी. We have already done 400 questions. We'll do 100 more questions, which would mostly be from the update section. Fine. So I was going to talk about green deposits. Let's talk about green deposits. What are green deposits? अरे और एक और चीज है गाइस, फ्रॉम नाउ टिल एग्जामिनेशन आप लोग कभी भी कॉल कर सकते हो मुझे. अभी बहुत सारे बच्चे परेशान हो रहे होंगे, किसी को स्ट्रेस हो रहा होगा. ऑल ऑफ यू हैव माय नंबर, है ना? जो बच्चे क्लास में एनरोल्ड है, आप सबके पास मेरा नंबर है. प्लीज गिव मी कॉल वेन एवर यू वांट. रात में थोड़ा अवॉइड करो, मैं सो जाता हूं, तो उसके अलावा गिव मी अ कॉल. मैं बिजी होऊंगा तो नहीं उठाऊंगा, है ना? प्रेफरेबली फर्स्ट सेंड मी अ व्हाट्सएप मैसेज. व्हाट्सएप मैसेज आएगा तो मुझे पता होगा ये कॉल स्टूडेंट का है, किसी का. Because nowadays I don't have your numbers, all your numbers, only the students with which I have communicated, I have their numbers. So first send me a WhatsApp message कि sir I'm this student and I want to speak to you. I'll call you back, और इन 5-6 घंटे में you only call, है ना? बट कोई भी परेशानी हो रही है, कोई भी स्ट्रेस हो रहा है, किसी भी सब्जेक्ट में कोई दिक्कत हो रही है, give me a call. I may not be able to solve it, but I may be able to guide you कि इस तरह की दिक्कतों को कैसे take care कर सकते हैं. Okay, let's come back to green deposits. What are green deposits? What is the idea of green deposits? आप बैंक में FD कराते हो, आप बैंक में फिक्स्ड डिपॉजिट कराते हो. Now that fixed deposit is used by bank to give loans to various sectors. Now RBI is coming up with a framework where you can get your deposit in the form of green deposit. So when you deposit your money in the form of fixed deposit under the category of green deposit, then you're telling the bank, why this money will only go to green projects. अगर आप इसे लोन करोगे आगे, it will be going to green projects, green renewable energy project, energy efficiency projects, right? It will not go to fossil fuel wale projects. It will not go to waste to energy. Waste to energy, when we burn waste to produce energy, then also pollution occurs. It will not be done for waste to energy products. So did we understand the idea of green deposit? Very important for prelims. अभी अप्रैल में ही RBI has come up with a framework for green deposit. We have already covered the issues of green funding. जैसे हमने ग्लोबल एनवायरमेंट फैसिलिटी, ग्रीन क्लाइमेट फंड, ये सब पढ़ा हुआ है पहले. नेशनल लेवल पे टू इंक्रीज फंडिंग फॉर, टू इंक्रीज फंड अवेलेबिलिटी फॉर ग्रीन एनर्जी, व्हाट हैज बीन डन, ये है. सर आई एम, अरे कॉल पे बात करो, यहां नहीं. मैं यहाँ पे आपके स्ट्रेस के बारे में बात करूंगा तो क्लास अफेक्ट होगी ना. गिव मी अ कॉल आफ्टर द क्लास. डिड वी अंडरस्टैंड ग्रीन डिपॉजिट? ओके. तो ग्रीन डिपॉजिट मींस एन इंटरेस्ट बेयरिंग डिपॉजिट. जब आप फिक्स डिपॉजिट करा रहे हो तो इंटरेस्ट तो मिल रहा है आपको. इट्स एन इंटरेस्ट बेयरिंग डिपॉजिट रिसीव्ड बाय रेगुलेटेड एंटिटीज. रेगुलेटेड एंटिटीज आरबीआई जिनको रेगुलेट कर रही है. तो इट इज अ, जैसे आरबीआई विल रेगुलेट शेड्यूल कमर्शियल बैंक, आरबीआई विल रेगुलेट स्मॉल फाइनेंशियल बैंक, आरबीआई विल रेगुलेट हाउसिंग फाइनेंशियल कंपनीज, है ना, हाउसिंग. वो तो इन सब, ये ऑल दीज वी आर इंक्लूडिंग इन द डेफिनेशन ऑफ regulated entities, right? So interest bearing deposit received by regulated entities for a fixed period and proceeds of which are earmarked for being allocated towards green finance. तो आप एफडी कराओगे ग्रीन डिपॉजिट वाले फॉर्म में, और वो एफडी का पैसा बैंक किसे एलोकेट करेगा? फॉर ग्रीन फाइनेंस, ओनली फॉर दिस पर्पस. Got it? Only for green purposes. The purpose and rationale for framework is to encourage regulated entities to offer green deposit to customers. मैं customer हूं, I will be able to deposit my money in the form of green deposit. Protect interest of depositors. My interest would be protected. Aid customers to achieve their sustainability agenda. Address greenwashing concerns. What is greenwashing? Sometimes you say that this project is green, but that's not actually green, that's actually polluting. तो आप polluting projects को green wash करके दिखा देते हो, this is a green project, that is green washing. So it's saying that it will also address the issue of greenwashing. How would it address the issue of greenwashing? Now bank will analyze whether this project is green or not, and accordingly provide funds, help augment the flow of credit to green activities and projects. This money, because it can only go to green activities, so it will ensure that more fund is available for green projects, renewable projects, etc. Regulated entities कौन से? Scheduled commercial banks, small financial bank, housing financial banks, all these entities are regulated by NBFCs. All these entities are regulated by RBI and are regulated entities. The allocations of proceeds raised from green deposits should be based on official Indian green taxonomy. तो मतलब क्या है? If I'm depositing some money for green, in the form of green deposit, when that money is given as in the form of loan to the projects ahead, that loan should be going to green projects as per India's definition of green project. India ka green taxonomy. Now, so far we do not have any definition. Till that time, pending finalization of the taxonomy, pending finalization of this classification, whether a project is green project or not, till that time, as an interim measure, regulated entities would be required to allocate the proceeds raised through green deposit towards a specified list of green activities. जब तक हम ये definition finalize नहीं कर लेते, तब तक RBI will provide a specified list of projects. Only to them these green deposits would go. The project must encourage energy efficiency in resource utilization, reduce carbon emission, reduce greenhouse gases, promote climate resilience and or adaptation and value, and improve natural ecosystem and biodiversity. Only those projects would be considered green projects. Renewable energy, energy efficiency, clean transportation, climate change adaptation, sustainable water, waste management, green building are among the list of project activities where regulated entities could allocate the proceeds raised through green deposits. RBI has also mentioned list of exclusions, that is the projects which will not be considered green projects, which will not be considered for these loans. Usme they have included things like fossil fuels wale project, nuclear energy wale projects. Nuclear generation is also included here, which in the exclusion list, it cannot be included there. And direct waste incineration. Not all waste to energy, but when you are burning waste, those kind of projects are removed from this green deposits के allocation वाले requirements. Do we understand this? Idea of green deposit, the framework has been brought by RBI. अब ये it will come into play from I think from 1st of July या 1st of June. तो अभी it is not in play. तो अभी you cannot go to your bank and say कि I want to make a green deposit. But because the framework has come into play, a question related to this may get asked in the examination. Got it? कुछ miscellaneous चीजें हैं. Let's quickly discuss them. Open source seed movement. Open source seed movement. Now, what is this open source seed movement? मेरे बैठने की भी जगह नहीं दी है. मेरी टीम ना थोड़ी ढीली है. Open source seed movement. What is open source seed movement? What is the need of open source seed movement? पहले ऐसे समझो. Nowadays, a lot of seed companies are coming. A lot of breeders are coming who are getting patent over their seeds. Public government का role इसमें reduce हो रहा है. Private companies are coming. And those private companies are taking patents over seeds. Now those seeds would be expensive. Those seeds would not be available to everyone. In long run, this will hamper agriculture sector. So जी open source seed movement है, it is something similar to open source softwares. जिसपे किसी का कॉपीराइट नहीं होगा। अब कॉपीराइट होगा भी तो उसमें ऐसा होता है कि ओपन सोर्स सॉफ्टवेयर में कि द कोड वुड बी अवेलेबल टू एनीवन एंड you can modify that code and create new products, but that new product would also come under GPL, general public license wala category, and would be available to other people. So in open source seed movement, this is what is being planned, is being done for seed sector. You're developing some new seed, उस पे पेटेंट वाले restrictions मत लगाओ. Allow others to use it, allow others to work on it and create new varieties, with a condition that those people who are creating new varieties would further not restrict them from use ahead, so that seed में more and more development could take place. This is open source seed movement. Why is it needed? It's needed because public sector का breeding में decline हो रहा है and private sector domination is increasing. It is leading to high prices for private sector owned seeds, which will in long run create problems for farmers. So open source seed में, open source seeds are those seeds which have been freed from IPR restriction. There are some examples of open source initiatives. जैसे in 1999 a Canadian plant breeder named T.E. Michaels suggested an approach to seed based on the principle of open source software. Later in 2012, Jack Kloppenberg, whose 1988 book First the Seed altered the world to trends in the seed sector and the use of IP to control farmers' right. In 2012, they launched open source seed initiative in Wisconsin. Open source seed initiative simply ask for a pledge that an individual won't restrict others' use of these seeds or their derivatives by patents or other means, and to include these pledges with any transfer of these seeds on their derivatives. तो कोई भी उन सीड्स का यूज रेस्ट्रिक्ट नहीं करेगा, और ये प्लज की आप इस सीड्स का यूज रेस्ट्रिक्ट नहीं करोगे, इसके डेरिवेटिव पे भी आप ट्रांसफर कर रहे हो. In India, Hyderabad-based Center for Sustainable Agriculture, part of the Apna Bees network, developed a model incorporated in the agreement between CSA and the recipient of seed or germplasm. They develop certain seeds and they give those seeds to other people, and a similar kind of model has been created here also. Okay, I hope we have clarity on open seed movement. UPSC may not ask these details, but the idea of open seed movement may get asked. We must be prepared for this. Disaster resilient infrastructure. Conference on disaster resilient infrastructure. Now, before we go to conference on disaster resilience infrastructure, let's understand coalition for disaster resilient infrastructure. What is this coalition for disaster resilient infrastructure? देखो नाम देखो ध्यान से, coalition for disaster resilient infrastructure. Infrastructure which can be resilient to disaster, which can survive disaster. Coalition for that. This initiative was launched in 2009 United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change के summit में. Prime Minister Modi had announced this coalition for disaster resilient infrastructure. Through this, the aim was that जो existing और future infrastructure है, that could be made disaster resilient. Abhi, right now in 2023, there are 31 countries which are part of this coalition on disaster resilient infrastructure. Other than 31 countries, there are 6 international organizations and 2 private sector organizations. This is headquartered in Delhi. So after International Solar Alliance, this is another international initiative initiated by India. Coalition for disaster resilient infrastructure. Coalition for disaster resilient infrastructure. क्या मैसेज भेजा है आपने रितेश? मोस्टली अच्छा, मैं डिस्कस करता हूँ रितेश, मुझे 1 मिनट दो. मैं बताता हूँ. Let's come back to. So we understand coalition of disaster resilient infrastructure. When was it launched? It is led by India. Right now 30 plus countries are part of it. Several NGOs are part of it. It is headquartered in Delhi. इसी का एक इंटरनेशनल कॉन्फ्रेंस होता है. इसका 5th इंटरनेशनल कॉन्फ्रेंस वाज हेल्ड रिसेंटली. Conference on disaster resilient infrastructure. It's an international conference of coalition for disaster resilient infrastructure. इसका 5th conference was held recently and PM Modi एड्रेस द 5th इंटरनेशनल कॉन्फ्रेंस फॉर डिजास्टर रेजिलिएंट इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर बाय वीडियो मैसेज। वो न्यूज था, तो उसमें वीडियो मैसेज में ज्यादा कुछ इंपॉर्टेंट नहीं है, बट बिकॉज दिस कोएलिशन वाज इन न्यूज, वी मस्ट बी अवेयर ऑफ दैट। नाउ this coalition for disaster resilient infrastructure have two other sub initiatives. One is infrastructure for disaster resilient island state iris, and दूसरा IRAF infrastructure resilient accelerator fund. जो पहला है iris infrastructure for disaster resilient state island state, infrastructure for disaster resilient island state में जो ये coalition है, what is it trying to do? It is trying to ensure that technology support which is needed by small island nations, small island developing countries to make their infrastructure disaster resilient is available to them. So here the focus is on helping small island developing nations, because with sea level rise, they are the ones who are going to suffer the most. Got it? Second, infrastructure resilient accelerator fund. यहाँ पे coalition for disaster resilient infrastructure has announced IRAF, a $50 million trust fund to support global action on disaster resilience infrastructure. This was announced in November 2022 at COP27. Where was COP27 held? Sharm el Sheikh. Where is Sharm el Sheikh located? Sinai Peninsula. Right? Gulf of Aqaba की तरफ है कि स्विस कनाल की तरफ है? अकाबा की तरफ है। मैपिंग याद है? ओके, नाइस। Heat index. अभी IMD, Indian Meteorological Department, have announced that they will be very soon coming up with a heat index for Delhi this summer. Delhi के लिए they'll be coming up with heat index. Now what is heat index? देखो, एक तो है you inform कि what is the maximum temperature in Delhi. Maximum temperature is 40 degrees Celsius, is 38 degrees Celsius, is 35 degrees Celsius, and एक temperature announce करते हो. Heat index में you also consider take humidity into consideration. You also take humidity in consideration. We have studied wet bulb temperature. वेट बल्ब टेम्परेचर वाला कॉन्सेप्ट हमने पढ़ा था। अब हाँ, क्लास में आधे टाइम पढ़ती नहीं हो। let me explain you what wet bulb temperature was. Wet bulb temperature. आप एक थर्मोमीटर को लो, इट विल मेजर, याद आ गया लाइक तो आप एक थर्मोमीटर लो, it will measure temperature, outside temperature abhi, right? Now if you cover it with a wet cloth, what would happen? That wet cloth would lose some water, evaporation hoga, and it will cool down the thermometer, the temperature will go down. So wet bulb temperature basically says that if the outside temperature is 40, for your body to function, your body cannot function at 45 degrees Celsius, outside temperature 45 degrees Celsius. Your body cools down itself. Your body cools down itself, right? आप स्वेट करते हो, आपके बॉडी का टेम्परेचर 45 डिग्री हो जाएगा तो आप मर मुरा जाओगे। ये बात समझ में आई? तो इफ द ह्यूमिडिटी आउटसाइड इज हायर, देन इवापोरेशन इतना ज्यादा नहीं होगा, बिकॉज इन द एटमॉस्फेयर देयर इज ऑलरेडी अ लॉट ऑफ मॉइस्चर. If the outside humidity is less, it's very dry, then your body can easily lose water, evaporation can be easy. So in dry conditions, you can cool down more. In humid condition, you don't cool down more. Right? So in dry conditions, even if the outside temperature is 45 degrees Celsius, your body may be able to cool down. Heat wave situation, your body still is able to cool down. But when it's humid and outside temperature is 40 degrees Celsius, it's very unbearable. You feel very uncomfortable because your body is not able to cool itself. Your body is not able to cool itself effectively. Your body is not able to function properly. So when humidity रहती है with high temperature, we think that we are feeling uncomfortable just because वो चिपचिपा हो रहा है. No, we're feeling uncomfortable because our body is not able to cool itself effectively. वो स्वेट रिलीज कर भी रहा है आपका बॉडी, but that sweat is not getting evaporated. If that sweat was getting evaporated, it would have cooled you. But it's not getting evaporated, it's remaining stuck to your skin. And you're feeling bad. You're not able to cool. So when the heat index that IMD is planning, there they will also consider humidity. to tell you what is the situation outside. अभी तो बस वो टेम्परेचर बताते हैं. They'll also consider humidity to tell you what is the situation outside. जैसे if you go to US, they release their heat index, and based on that they tell you what is the situation and what you should do, what you should avoid. Are we getting this? Are we understanding this? This heat index is something that is being planned. Heat wave क्या होता है? Heat wave हमने पढ़ा है. Heat waves क्या होते हैं? A situation of unusually high temperature. तो जैसे IMD ने heat waves का definition दिया है, तो प्लेन एरिया में अनयूजुअली हाई टेम्परेचर, आप देखो जैसे दिसंबर में चले जाओ, दिल्ली में दिसंबर में लेट्स से द हाईएस्ट टेम्परेचर इज 20 डिग्री सेल्सियस, टुडे इट्स 30 डिग्री सेल्सियस. विल इट बी कंसिडर्ड हीट वेव? नहीं. इट्स अनयूजुअली हाई टेम्परेचर, बट इन प्लेन एरिया फॉर अ सिचुएशन टू बी कंसिडर्ड हीट वेव, in plain area the temperature should be at least 40 degrees Celsius. In coastal area temperature should be at least 37 degrees Celsius. In hilly area the temperature should be at least 30 degrees Celsius. तो दिल्ली में एक maximum temperature should be more than 40 degrees Celsius and it should be unusually high than the normal. तो let's say हम फरवरी की बात करते हैं. फरवरी में maximum temperature जो दिल्ली का होता है, मान लो 14th Feb को, वैलेंटाइंस डे के दिन मैक्सिमम टेम्परेचर ऑफ दिल्ली लेट से होता है 32 डिग्री सेल्सियस, बट इन 2024 इट कम्स आउट टू 37 डिग्री सेल्सियस और 38 डिग्री सेल्सियस. विल इट बी कंसिडर्ड हीट वेव? हीट वेव प्लेन में होने के लिए मैक्सिमम टेम्परेचर शुड बी एटलीस्ट 40 डिग्री सेल्सियस, बट दिस सिनेरियो इन कोस्टल एरिया में बी कंसिडर्ड हीट वेव. ओके, लेट्स कम टू मार्च 20. मार्च 20 में मानते हैं दिल्ली का यूजुअल मैक्सिमम टेम्परेचर होता है 36 डिग्री सेल्सियस, but today this year it is 41 degrees Celsius. Will it be considered heat wave? Yes. 40 डिग्री से ज्यादा और more than usual, it is heat wave. 37 डिग्री से ज्यादा in coastal area but and more than usual is heat wave. 30 डिग्री से ज्यादा and more than usual in the hilly areas it would be considered heat wave. तो as per IMD heat wave का definition क्या है? Departure from normal by 4 more than 4.5 डिग्री सेल्सियस. नॉर्मल हाई टेम्परेचर जो आपका उस दिन का है, उससे 4.5 डिग्री सेल्सियस अगर आपका टेम्परेचर ज्यादा है एंड एटलीस्ट 40 डिग्री सेल्सियस टेम्परेचर है, देन इन प्लेन एरिया इट विल बी कंसिडर्ड हीट वेव. इफ द डिपार्चर इज मोर देन 6.4 डिग्री सेल्सियस इट विल बी कंसिडर्ड सिवियर हीट वेव. यही चीज इफ द टेम्परेचर इज अबव 45 डिग्री सेल्सियस देन इट इज हीट वेव, नो मैटर वेदर इट इज डिपार्चर और नॉट. हर साल मई में टेम्परेचर 45 डिग्री जा रहा है, इस साल भी गया 45 डिग्री से ज्यादा. इट्स नॉट अ डिपार्चर फ्रॉम द यूजुअल हाई टेम्परेचर, बट इट इज स्टिल हीट वेव. इफ द टेम्परेचर इज अबव 45 डिग्री सेल्सियस इट इज हीट वेव, एंड इफ द टेम्परेचर इज अबव 47 डिग्री सेल्सियस इट इज सिवियर हीट वेव. आर वी गेटिंग दिस? आर वी अंडरस्टैंडिंग दिस? विद दिस आवर अपडेट्स ऑन एनवायरनमेंट आर आल्सो डन. आई एम स्टिल गोइंग थ्रू सम मटेरियल. अगर एक आधा कोई टॉपिक छूटता है तो we will do is it as part of RTFQ. तो please note from tomorrow our revise through 500 questions is starting. We will do around 170 questions here, 170 questions here and 160 questions here. In the next 3 days we will be doing 500 MCQs, जिसमें मैं past year के important questions मैं include कर लूंगा. We'll be doing these 500 questions to revise entire environment. Okay. हाँ, एक रितेश ने क्वेश्चन पूछा, सर मोस्ट और ऑल लिविंग ऑर्गेनिजम्स हैव डीएनए. अरे डीएनए अब पहली क्लास में हमने पढ़ा था साइंस के बायोटेक्नोलॉजी वाले में कि अदर देन वायरसेस, अदर देन आरएनए वायरस, कुछ वायरस में तो डीएनए वायरस होते हैं, अदर देन आरएनए वायरसेस ऑल लिविंग ऑर्गेनिजम्स हैव डीएनए. डीएनए क्या? वो डीऑक्सीराइबोन्यूक्लिक एसिड जिसमें जेनेटिक मटेरियल इज इन द फॉर्म ऑफ एटीसीजी पेयर्स. आप एक मॉस्किटो को लोगे, आप एक बैक्टीरिया को लोगे, आप एक ह्यूमन बीइंग को लोगे, दे विल हैव देयर जेनेटिक मटेरियल स्टोर्ड इन द फॉर्म ऑफ डीएनए. एंड बिकॉज जेनेटिक मटेरियल ऑफ ह्यूमन बीइंग्स, ऑफ एनिमल्स, ऑफ बर्ड्स, ऑफ बटरफ्लाइज, ऑफ insects, of bacteria is same, it's easy to copy some genetic material from there and add it here, or take some genetic material from here and add it there. If it was different, if the genetic material there was something else, then वो mixing and matching would not have been possible. Okay, चलिए आज रुकते हैं. Tomorrow 6 PM revise through 5 पढ़ लो थोड़ा लेट तक. Tomorrow 6 PM revise through 500 questions we'll be doing. Thank you. Yes, tomorrow's class would be at 6 only, 6 p.m. only. Thank you very much.